Hello and welcome along to another episode of this FM21 Builder Nation story from Bangor City with me, Daniel. It's part 84 today and we have got a big opportunity. We got a chance to regain the SPFL Trust Trophy final and it's Wales v Northern Ireland because it's Bangor City against Linfield, a side that were our nemesis for much of our Builder Nation in FM20. But this time, we're hoping we can get out on top of them. It's not going to be easy given some of the suspensions, the injuries and the international duties we've got to deal with. We'll very much give it our best shot. We've also got the Welsh title race still going down to the wire with big games yet to come. And we're chasing a Welsh Cup as well. So it could be a treble to end the season after faltering in the League Cup and going out of Europe last time. In addition to that, we've got a little bit of action off the pitch too. We had our youth intake, which was promised as our golden generation by Amari Morgan-Smith. So let's go and see if that's the case as well. If you're looking forward to this one, please do put a thumbs up on it. Subscribe down below for daily FM21 content from two long-term stories. You can catch up with all the playlists, including a new Welsh-based experiment in the eye above. And if you click in the description below, there's a link to the Twitch channel as well. Thank you all for your incredible support as we're back with Bangor City. Let's firstly get the one game we played off camera out the way. It was about 10 days ago now. We had a little rest before this game, which doesn't often happen. The problem with that is, this game's been moved to the Wednesday, which means we've got a couple of key players on international duty, so it doesn't quite make sense. I'll have a look in a minute to see if Linfield have got any away actually. We beat Carmarthen 5-0 though. It was a partly backup team, partly first team. We've got Patrick Malone got the first goal. He's one of those who's away today. Sean Banks off the bench got the late goal. He rarely gets a kick this season. And Max Dean gets a hat-trick, which is crucial because Greg Pringle got a knock, and that means that Dean is starting today. Dara Leahy also missed a penalty. We've just been awful from the spot this year. It's something since the new update, actually, in all saves, I've really struggled with his penalty kicks. So we'll try and gloss over that for now, but there is more work to be done moving forward. What we have got to look at, though, and what should be the star of the show, is our youth intake. It was promised as a golden generation. I didn't get too excited because we'd had that the previous year, and it didn't quite go to plan. And this year's one, if we go and have a look at it, I'm afraid is almost as disappointing. So there is one player who looks like there could be a good first teamer. And we've got to bear in mind with the standard that we are at the moment, anyone who's above sort of 2.5 star potential is a big candidate for us. Because most of our backup team, particularly defensively, are 2-star ability players. So the two ones that stand out, they're not going to set the world alight. They're not a golden generation. But they're two solid youngsters coming through. First and foremost is 15-year-old defensive midfielder Ryan Bowers. He's got 1.5 star ability, 4-star potential. He's got the unambitious personality which we'll work on, but everything else looks alright. He's got a decent tackling attribute, he's good in the air, he's good marking, he's solid enough physically for a 15-year-old and he hasn't got any sort of outlier negative stats. He's got excellent positioning. I've talked to you countless times about how important that attribute is. His decision making's good, his anticipation's good. He is made for the role that he's going to come into. So I'm hoping he'll be able to develop. Might even become a decent centre-half later. We'll wait and see how tall he gets. But for me, he looks a proper good youngster. And he'll be involved in the first team towards the end of the year. We'll try and get him in a mentoring group as well. The second one is another defensive player. Centre-half Gerwin Hamer. 1-star ability only, but 3.5 potential. The difference with him is he is quite good mentally. He's not a ball player, which might be an issue for us playing out from the back. But still, he's decent physically, great in the air, good natural fitness, good bravery, good determination, works hard and excellent in a tackle. The positioning's a slight concern, but he's only 15. He will develop that in time. So I'm not sure that as we move down the line in 5 years, he'll be a first choice player for Bangor City. But he should be a star for the Welsh League, so he's someone we'll keep an eye on as well. Of the rest, there's not really a huge amount of talent. The most is 2.5 star potential. There's a few with 1-star ability at the moment. A keeper who's got no composure. A right winger who wouldn't ever fit into our tactic. And a left winger for which the same applies and has very little potential. So probably only two that stand out. It is interesting to note that we had one Slovenian come through in our youth intake. That's Tadej Rosman. So interesting that we're starting to get players from other nations outside the UK. But really, beyond good youth players, they're not going to be huge stars. The one thing I will note is we had another Tom Jones come through. He's only a 1-star ability striker with 2-star potential, but his core attributes, a bit like sort of Sean Banks now, look very good. If you can get the determination sorted, he's a finisher at this level. and I'd be surprised if someone didn't take a punt on him later down the line. We'll wait and see though. So despite the few positive signs, I think we have to overall say it's probably a quite negative or underwhelming youth intake, though we have got more upgrades to come. We're trying to get the club improving, and if we can keep pushing things forward, I don't think there's any more we can do at the moment. We should be able to get people through in the next few years. It's just waiting for the right ones. If we have a look at the facilities to see where we stand, we've now got exceptional academy coaching and youth recruitment, great youth facilities, excellent training facilities. So the only thing we're behind on really is the youth facilities. And if we can get one more upgrade to that next year, we should be fantastic. A few of you have asked about the stadium capacity. It's still all the same at Nantporth. We've asked once and they said there wasn't enough demand to satisfy an increase, which, to be fair, outside of Europe is fair enough. If we keep progressing in Europe and keep selling out the racecourse of Wrexham, I don't think they'll have an argument soon. But if we can just go and play there instead, is it really worth our while at this point? I'm not sure it is. You did also ask about average attendances, so let's very quickly have a look at that, because that's one of the big positives of this save so far. If we go and have a look at the team overview, you can see that this season, if we go down and have a look at the average attendance, we're actually well over 1,000 now. And that's the first time this has happened even for us in this save. Barrytown United are well over 500, TNS around the 500 mark. So they are gradually creeping up from what we've seen in previous years. Though I'd say bar the sides in Europe, perhaps that rise isn't quite so big. But you never know, it might happen in the future. No stadium sellouts, highest attendance is looking much better. Getting towards the 1,000 mark for a few others and 1,500 for us. So overall, not too bad. The salaries are even catching up from TNS as well. I did want to note on the TNS front, their finances starting to look insecure. So I want to get your thoughts down in the comments ahead of the summer. Do we sign one of their players and offer quite big money for him? If they win the title, obviously it won't matter. They'll have Champions League money. Or do we just hope that they progress in the Europa Conference? If they get to the group stages 1 year, we're going to have a right battle on our hand. Because even without that, they've only dropped points in 6 games this year. And if we have a look at it, a couple of those are against us. And without that, if you take out our fixtures against them, we're probably actually behind them in the league. Because we've lost or drawn all of our games against other sides, bar one draw against TNS. So I think we're close to having a real title race on our hands, but I don't want those finances to get in the way of it. So I'm a little bit mixed on what I need to do there. I'm not quite sure what the best approach is. So let me know what you guys think. Do we bring back Noah Daly for another Build a Nation save? We'll go and wait and see. But going into today's game, we have got injury concerns. Just a few, but key ones in the team. Greg Pringle is not available. He's got a twisted knee and will miss out on this one. But he will be a key face in the title race and in the Welsh Cup chase. We've also got Luca Cannell and Dean Rogers just returning from injury. Neither of them fit enough to start today. If you then factor in that we've got, if we go and have a look, Archie Wood suspended, Harvey Lewitt and Patrick Malone on international duty. We're actually a few players down, and particularly in that holding midfield position. But let's go and have a look at Linfield. They've got 3 players out injured, but I want to see what their situation is in regards to internationals, because we've got a few missing. I presume as the biggest club in Northern Ireland, they would as well. They're currently top of the Welsh Premier League. They won it last year, and they're having a great old scrap with Larne at the top of the table. Really interesting to see that bar Crusaders, all of the big boys have sort of risen to the top. Glentoran up there in 3rd. They've gone professional now as well. So the league is starting to really improve. And in fact, a lot of those sides that have been in Europe are going professional. And that's the difference of reaching group stages. So we've got to hope TNS do it next year. They're a 2-star reputation side just like us. It's a playable league. It's going to be hard. They've got a manager in Michael Galt who's got very good attributes. They've got a key player in Scott Aspinall who is a wonderful English striker on £6,000 a week. Look at how much Linfield have developed compared to look at our Build a Nation last year with Cliftonville. We were really struggling to get Linfield and Larne along till the end. But he is a superstar. Probably as good as any of our strikers, I'd say. Let's go and have a look at their team. Who's away? So, their backup keeper is on international duty. That's not going to bother them too much. They've got a lot of injuries, actually. But aside from that, they haven't got anyone away. They should be at full strength. They've got some real key players in that side, particularly the loanies. Look at that one from Peterborough, Graham McBride. He looks very good. They've got a defender from Sheffield Wednesday, who we nearly signed in the summer, and he chose to come to Linfield instead. So there are some cracking players in this team, and I think it's going to be a close match. So let's go and get into it and see what happens on the day. Here we go then. I'm not quite sure where this match is being played. We'll find out in a second. We still can't find out from this screen, but it is nearly a 12,000 capacity, so it's going to be one hell of a stadium. Let's go and have a look at our lineup for today. We've tried to fit around the injuries. There's no point me trying to get Pringle on the bench, and there's no point trying to push the fitness of some of these boys coming back from injury. So that means we've had to take some gambles in the squad. We've gone for George Wickens in goal. We've had to put the centre-half, the record January signing, into the holding role today, something he is very natural at doing. And that means that Keegan Riley's come into centre-half and Jack Hankin will go out to right-back. Holding's available on the bench if we need him, as is Leahy, as I've pushed Morgan Boys out to left-back. But Abo, of course, is the ever-present in the middle, who we're looking forward to seeing today. Williams and Brooks are in the middle of the diamond, Cottrell behind Dean and Duffy, and they'll go back to their preferred roles once we get into it. Dean got a hat-trick in his last game. Duffy has been in great form most of the season. So let's go and get into the SPFL Trust Trophy final and see if we can beat Linfield and reclaim the trophy. 6 changes for us from the Carmarthen game, and I'd argue not all of them strengthen the team, particularly looking into the midfield area and then what it's had as a knock-on consequence on the back four. You can see all of those Linfield stars are in. We mentioned Brennan, we mentioned Aspinall up front. They've got quality players. They've got a good team. They've got a solid squad. They've got game changers on the bench as well, something we've not always had. For us, our bench is actually quite weak today. Maguire's good, Cannell's there, Jones is there, but them two aren't fit. Elliot Andrew has been a goal scorer this year, but wasn't ever brought in to be a first choice striker. Defensively, we're relying on a pretty poor backup and a very inexperienced youngster. And then Martin Sinclair is there to bulk out the fit midfielders. He's not anywhere near this level of fixture. So let's go and get into the final. We're going to pump the fists. We're going to tell the boys to prove a point. We've got most of them motivated. And despite all of the problems, it doesn't change the fact that our first 11 out today, if at their best, should compete well in this game. So let's go and get into the first half. We're going to try and regain a title after that thrilling defeat against Port Vale last year. And hopefully defensively we'll be a bit better this time. The benefit, of course, we didn't play massive European football 48 hours before. So hopefully we'll be in better nick. The first 15 minutes though has been an absolute bore fest, as there's a throw on the left hand side for Corrigan. Why are Linfield playing in that kit? I mean, the fact that we're in red instead of blue is neither here nor there. But Linfield then, instead of playing in their normal blue kit, are now playing in purple, which means it's almost a kit clash. And they've made a mistake at the back as it falls for Joe Duffy, edge of the box, scrapping around there. And he's been brought down, it's got to be a pen. The problem is, we've barely scored these this season. Ben Cottrell is the best penalty taker at the club. He has taken one this season and scored one. He has a 100% record. So he's the man we're going to go for. Ben Cottrell, after 20 minutes, for the first highlight after a defensive mix-up, has the chance to put Bangor City ahead against Linfield. It's their fans behind the goal. Cottrell steps up and he does not care. Sends the keeper the right way, but with far too much power, with far too much direction, it thunders into the side netting. 1-0 Bangor City. Fingers crossed the trophy's on its way back to Wales. Half-time, and rather embarrassingly for a showpiece event, and in complete contrast to the Port Vale final last year, which we lost. It was the only shot on target was the penalty that scored the goal so far. Apart from that, it has been a woeful game. We've seen barely any of it. I tried to make this episode a one-game showpiece event, and look what's happened. It's come back to bite me on the backside. Having said that, we look comfortable. We've not really had any threat on our goal. And to be honest, we've dominated the possession as well. So the first 11 are doing the professional job we asked of them. But we're certainly not in a position to bring the youngsters on. And with it only being one and the risk of extra time, I'm worried about bringing the players who aren't fit on too early. So I think this 11's going to have to see out most of the game here, unless we can get a second or third. You never know though. While there's only one in it, anything could happen. Well, just over 15 minutes to go. Linfield have had one shot on target and they've now got a corner, which we head away to Max Dean. He thumps it long downfield to Joe Duffy, holds up on the left-hand side of the box, has got a man tightly marking him, gets in, skins him to the right foot, back to Cottrell who shoots, it's blocked away to Brooks, he's hit the post as well. Incisive counter-attacking from Bangor City, and some of the worst finishing you'll ever see. Having said that, with 15 minutes to go, we still lead 1-0. And I think we do now have to go and make some changes. We keep getting that warning about people 1 yellow card from a suspension. It's a final, it doesn't matter. Let's go and make some subs. So, as it's one of the only real first team quality subs, we're going to bring Andrew on for Dean. That's pretty much 50-50, no difference in quality. Cottrell scored the penalty, but he's lacking fitness and he hasn't been great. So Callum Maguire will come on for him. And Luca Cannell returning to fitness will replace a Daniel Williams who's struggling with it. We've got 15 minutes plus stoppage time to go. It's been an awful game. The fact there's been 2 shots on target in a cup final is a disgrace. We really haven't entertained the fans, but ironically, this trophy, no Scottish side can win it now. It's been shared between England, Wales and Northern Ireland, and it looks like we're coming out on top today as Duffy flicks on a long free kick, 3 minutes remaining. Jones clears it to Hamilton. Could be a sucker punch from Linfield because we've not got on top here, and we don't really deserve to win it. It's been an even game. Larkin on the right to sub, down the line to Bradley. Good interception from Price. Really read the game well there. Into Cannell in the middle. Fresh legs off the bench. Goes to the 25-yard area. Has the shot. And it's just curled over the bar. It was a decent effort. It was a good counter-attack again. But it's not been a convincing performance. And to be honest, it's not really been a good cup final. Having said that, with 60 seconds to go, and now as the final whistle goes, it's all over. We might have had entertainment last year, but we didn't have the trophy. And that's probably the only thing that matters. Bangor City 1, Linfield 0 is the final score. The boys are going up to get their medals, and we are regaining a trophy that we lost last year. Yes, the European run went on 1 week less than it did last time, but as a result, we have won the SPFL Trust Trophy. Bangor City 1, Linfield 0. And it's back to Wales. It's had a year in Northern Ireland. It's had a year in England. And now it's back in the rightful ownership of Bangor City. A fantastic result, a pretty poor performance. But we don't care. It's all about getting over the line. And Bangor City have managed to do that. A wonderful day at the office. We enjoyed the success. And well done to the lads who are fit, because they did a thoroughly professional job. So we have beaten one of the former winners of the SPFL Trust Trophy. It was a fantastic result. We got the victory in Scotland at East End Park, home of Dunfermline. They were a side who've won it before as well, but it comes back from Port Vale and is in the hands of Bangor City. A fantastic result, a bit more money in the bank, and it's a pretty rewarding thing that Ian Brooks, the star player at the club, the 4.5-star ability loanee, is the man who was man of the match. He took the game by the scruff of the neck, and as a result, we're very happy. We get the trophy back. It's 3 times in 4 years we've won it now. And Linfield just behind there. 2022-23 was the year they won it. We'll do the post-match press conference off camera, as Linfield were actually the overachievers this year, which given their squad seems a little bit weird. But it's a good season and it's great for us to get back to the top of the game. It does look like the reserve sides, reputation-wise, are a little bit overrated in that competition and underperform with the quality of players they've got. But for us, we don't care. We've guaranteed it won't be a trophyless season. We've got a bigger job to do now. We've gone on another nice European run, which is over. We've got one of the 2 trophies that have been played so far this season. But now, can we get the Welsh Cup or can we get the Welsh Premier League? TNS are making it a fight. We play them on the final game of the season. At the moment, there's 5 points between us. So if we win the 3 games in the interim, it won't be a problem. But you never know. We've dropped some silly points more often than normal this season. So we're going to be back for that. We'll try and get through the Welsh Cup semi-final and the other league games. But if you did enjoy this episode, a big result and a pretty shoddy performance in the SPFL Trust Trophy final, please do put a thumbs up on the video. Let me know in the comments what you think of our progress, particularly what you thought of the youth intake. Am I maybe undervaluing the 2 stars there? Or should I have expected far better from a golden generation? Let me know your thoughts on that and whether you think we'll hold on for the league. Either way, it's really good to see that for 2 or 3 years now, TNS are getting closer and closer and closer. And the fact that before the Carmarthen game, we actually got a media message to say that the title race is going to the wire is something we haven't had for years. So I'm really glad to see that they're competing. And next year, fingers crossed, they have to have a big year in Europe. If you want to stick along and find out if they do, please do subscribe down below and turn that notification bell on. You'll get alerts as daily videos released from 2 long-term stories. We'll have an episode 2 from our Welsh experiment this Sunday at midday. But a massive thank you for watching, your continued support as always. It is really appreciated. And I'll see you next time for a thrilling climax to our Bangor City season. And hopefully 2 more trophies to stick in the cabinet. I'll see you next time to find out if we can do it.